Okay, hi everyone, welcome back. And after an unwanted visit to the hospital, I am finally back, and I think for the next couple of days I'm going to do maybe like only one video per day, but I promise you after that we are going to be right back on track. Now, in today's update, we are going to check out ICP's price charts, but before that, I'm going to talk about the self-writing internet manifesto, which came out, I believe it was like 5 days ago. And there is a lot of fascinating points in here that I just cannot cover them all in only one video. But in today's update, we are only going to talk about this very important point about Caffeine AI, which from my point of view is kind of revolutionary. So buckle up, this is going to be kind of an exciting update. Why? Because did you know that Caffeine AI is going to have its own app store? Yep, not like, for example, a side tool or feature. We are actually talking about here a dedicated marketplace where AI built apps are published, shared, and also even sold. And here is why this matters from my point of view so much. You see, most AI tools out there, for example, like ChatGPT or maybe GitHub Copilot, these are just assistants. They are there to help you write code, generate text, maybe even fix a bug or two. But Caffeine AI, okay, this seems like that Caffeine is trying to play a whole different game by building a complete ecosystem. This app store is basically where the internet kind of starts to write itself. And I know this is kind of a big thing to say, but trust me, I think this might actually work. For example, think of it like this. AI creates app, publishes it, and then other users, for example, people like you and me maybe, can clone those apps, tweak them, or maybe even just use them as is. That is the core idea behind what Dominic Williams recently called the self-writing internet. Now, let's talk about the cloning feature because it's actually low-key one of the most powerful things here. And the question is, why is that exactly? You see, if you find an app in the store, you can either, number one, use it right away like a plug and play solution, or number two, you can actually clone it to start building your own version on top of that app. This opens up two really cool possibilities. Number one is for beginners. You see, you don't really need to know how to code. You don't really need to start from scratch. You just find something useful, clone it, maybe tweak a few things, and boom, you got an app specifically for yourself. Number two, for pros and devs, this is kind of your playground. You can build something unique, improve existing apps, maybe even monetize what you create by listing it in the App Store. Basically, now we are not really only talking about AI as a helper. No, in this specific situation with Caffeine AI, you are kind of looking at AI as a builder, a publisher, and also a marketplace. This isn't just another AI feature. I promise you, it's actually a whole new way of developing and distributing. And here's the thing, we are not really only talking about a basic app directory here, like for example, App Store or maybe Google Play. No, what Caffeine is building is something kind of deeper, a real marketplace for AI generated apps. That is right, we are talking about apps that aren't really hand coded by developers in the traditional sense. No, they are instead built by AI, number two, published by users, and number three, made available for others to clone or even potentially buy. And you need to let that sink in for a second. This isn't AI helping you make something. No, this is kind of AI actually producing economic value. So now we are entering a world where AI is not just a tool, it's actually a creator, and that is pretty insane. And here is where things get even potentially more exciting. Caffeine lets users add a price to the apps they actually published. And you heard that right. This means a revenue model built right into the ecosystem, which is huge. So if you build a cool AI generated app, I don't know, for example, let's say a finance tracker, a game, or even a booking tool, you can list it in Caffeine App Store and you can charge users to either use or maybe clone your app. That is big because all of a sudden, anyone And I really mean that. Anyone, not just pro developers or big tech companies. No, anybody can at that point start earning real money by just publishing AI generating apps. And again, when I say AI generating apps, please do not think of some AI slop. No, we might end up having some of those, but I think we are mostly going to have very good and useful apps. And in my view, this is absolutely revolutionary. Why? Because before all this, building and launching apps meant big teams, big budgets, and also months of codings. But now in this scenario, you and AI can launch something in literally and only a day. And if people find it useful, well, you're gonna end up making quite a bit of money. And it's like the App Store, sure, but it is decentralized, number two, democratized, and number three, it is absolutely accessible. This is the internet of AI creators, which in my opinion, again, does have the potential to change the whole ecosystem around building apps. And now let's talk about something really powerful. It is adoption and network effect. The more apps that you get built or maybe published in Caffeine App Store, the more people will start using them, cloning them, improving them, and just like that, a whole ecosystem starts to grow organically. If that sounds familiar, it actually should, because this is exactly how platforms like GitHub or maybe even TikTok exploded through user-generated videos. The content, or in this specific scenario, the apps are created by users themselves, and each new piece of content brings more users, more ideas, more engagement, and that is how you get exponential growth. And now, think about what that actually means for Caffeine and ICP. This isn't just a cool feature or a side project. No, in my opinion, this is much bigger than that. This app store could become the engine that drives adoption across the whole platform. And you might ask what? Well, I got a couple of very important reasons for it. Number one, it's actually because it democratizes app creation. No more gatekeeping. Anybody can build, anybody can monetize. Number two, it creates a new economy where AI generated products are bought, sold, and also evolved by a community of creators. Number three, which is the most important reason, it actually makes ICP's vision of a decentralized AI powered internet feel absolutely real. And we're not talking about this down the line. No, we are talking about the near future. So overall, yes, this might look like just an app store, but trust me, this could very well be the spark that sets off a new wave of adoption for Caffeine AI and potentially and hopefully a long-term growth driver for ICP. And trust me when I tell you, this is absolutely 100% doable. Why? Because the infrastructure is already here, and hopefully in the next couple of months, everything is going to go well, and we are going to see the massive effect of Caffeine AI when it comes to huge amounts of adoption. So overall, this was, in my opinion, one of the most important points of the Self-Writing Internet Manifesto, and we are going to talk about other points in the next updates, because in today's update, I also want to talk about what is going on the live chart. So let's go on ICP's chart, and again, this is on H1 time frame, and I believe the last time that we talked about internet computer, we were somewhere around these areas, and the idea was that this is kind of a strong move down, so maybe we're gonna do an ABC zigzag, but under any kind of circumstances. Number one, we do not really want to see ICP taking this low, and even if we took it, we really do not want to see at that point internet computer taking specifically this low down here about, let's say, $4.4. Why is this so important? Let's go around here. You see, if you want to say that we're gonna have our final low around this area, I don't know, maybe like this is a very important support region, then okay, fair enough. You need to be able to find off of the lowest low a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave on the upside. And this specific example is an impulse. Rules for it are, we should not have overlapping of the waves between wave 2 and 4, and in any kind of 5 wave, wave 3 should not be the smallest wave. And in terms of the sub waves, you need to be able to find 5 wave up into wave 1, 3, and 5. If you are a regular viewer, you probably bored by hearing this, but here we are anyway. And for our corrections for wave 2 and 4, we can have different scenarios. I don't know, maybe like ABC for wave 4 and yep, a WXY into wave 2. Now, let's go on the live chart and see what is the problem currently. So back here in ICP, the idea was that hopefully we are going to have a series of 1-2s, meaning this can be maybe wave 1, correction for 2, and then we're going to have a massive move up into wave 3, 4, 5, which on a higher degree, it's going to be into this wave 3, correction for 4, another move up into wave 5, which basically suggests the final low is already in. Now, our invalidation point for this whole bullish scenario, and I'm going to say pretty much every single other bullish possibility for ICP, was what? If you remember, we said it's going to be taking this low down here about $4.4. And we said if we take it at that point, we need to count on a decent move down in internet computer in order to also take the lowest low down here as well, about $4.2. And we may sure go a bit lower than that, but I really at that point do not expect ICP to go a whole lot lower. And this is kind of the key. As you can see, right now, we have kind of invalidated all the bullish cases in here. However, we haven't still taken the lows yet. So what is it that I'm trying to say? You see, if you want to be optimistic, I guess maybe there is an argument to be made for this whole wave down to be a truncated wave on the downside. And you can kind of call this point your final low. But personally, I'm not really going to do that. Now, let's go on some lower time frames and see what is happening. Okay, so what do we have off of this point? I believe this is probably a wave 1, correction for 2, another move up into wave 3, correction for 4, and yet another move into wave 5. And I'm going to say this can be an optimistic sign. That's absolutely fair enough. However, in my books, this is probably going to be into an A leg, followed by a move down into wave B, and we may even soon yet another move on the upside into our C leg. But here's the thing, at that point, I need you to remain calm because there's a good argument to be made for this whole move to be again an ABC, a correction and not an impulse, indicating after this is over, we are going to unfortunately have yet another move down in order to set new lows and take the lowest low, which I believe it was around $4.1, $4.2. However, let me be very clear, that is absolutely not going to be a short opportunity. Trust me, in terms of fundamentals, especially with the launch of Caffeine AI, I think it is kind of safe to say that ICP is a fantastic project and it is going to have a beautiful future. So any kind of dip, from my point of view, I don't know about you guys, I would highly suggest do your own research, come up with your own conclusion. From my point of view, any kind of dip is going to be a massive buy opportunity for the mid to long term, in hope that we get a magnificent bull run. And in it, I don't know, maybe we're gonna have like potentially and hopefully a 10 to even 20x move on the upside. I think that is actually kind of realistic. So overall, in the short term, I am kind of right now a bit bearish as long as I'm not proven otherwise, but that is not going to change a whole lot when it comes to the mid to long term overall picture. In those cases, I am still 1000% bullish. And I hope I explained everything well and you understood what is going on in ICP's chart. Anyway, if you found any value in my content, I would really appreciate if you like this video and consider subscribing to my channel and follow me on Twitter. And if you want more, maybe you want a complete analysis for your own specific crypto, or maybe you want to learn some decent TA in order to be able to make good money in the market, you can become a member and ask me anything you want. And until the next update, I hope you have a wonderful time with your family and loved ones. Goodbye.